Drafting worldwide, wide. Welcome back to the Revit Garage project. In the last video we went through and created some 3D section views. In this video we're going to go through and create a section view, a typical wall section. So this one right here is my building section symbol. So this symbol can be found on a plan view, and the reason that it's shown on a plan view is because we need to show where it's cutting through. So you can very quickly look at this section symbol, building section symbol, on this plan view and see that it's cutting through our stairs. And then whenever I click on it, you can see the stairs in that view. These are my elevation symbols. They also are on the plan view, and they show which views you're looking at, which direction you're looking at. So if I wanted to see this side of the building, I would click on this one, and I'm going to see a man door and two windows in there. So I double click that, and there I go. Alright, so now that that's clear, I'm going to go back to my floor plan view, and I'm going to cut a section, and I'm going to come up here to the top and choose section, or you could go to view, section, and I'm going to choose this area right here and cut through this window, and I'm going to take a look at it and see how that looks. Okay, so I just double clicked on that, and now whenever I'm in the floor plan view, this section symbol, typical wall section, cuts through that window. If I double click on that symbol, it takes me to the actual view, which is this typical wall section. So I can start by just cleaning this up a little bit like this. So the first step in this process was to create the section symbol, take a look at it, and see if it's cutting where I want to cut. This looks good. The next step, before I start cleaning this up or anything, is I really have to determine my scale. So I want to use as big of a scale as possible and basically fill my page. So I'm going to scroll down to my sheets, and I'm going to right click on sheets, new sheet, and I'm going to make another 11 by 17. I say OK, and I'm just going to simply drag that section, and whenever I look at this I'm not sure which one that was, so I can go back to my floor plan view. Let's do this. Let's go back here, click on that, and I can see that this is section, should have it here in my property, section 5. So instead of being section 5 in my properties, I'm going to call this tip wall section. Hit apply, and now in my project browser under sections it shows up as typical wall section. So my second part in my workflow, after finding out, cutting the section and looking at it, I need to get the scale worked out so that all the text and everything like that, whenever I start cleaning it up, all the detail lines, everything like that ends up being exactly what I want it to be. So whenever I do this, I'm going to go back to my A1 or A202, and we're going to change this. We're going to call this A300. The 3 is the designation for sections. And I'm going to call this typical wall section. So that's my sheet name, and you can see that, we'll be able to see that on our title block, which got lost somehow. Oh, there it is. So typical wall section, A300. You can fill out the rest of those things as well. I'm going to drag that onto this drawing and drop it right there. Obviously this can be a lot bigger. So before I do anything, I'm going to rotate this view. All my other views, if I look at my first floor plan, all my views that I have are landscape. So whenever I print these out, I'm going to choose landscape. So I'm going to keep all the title blocks in landscape view, and I'm going to leave this title block alone. I could rotate this, but then whenever I went to print it, it's not going to print it out right because everything else is landscape. So instead of rotating the title block, I'm going to click on the view, and right here on this rotation on sheet, I'm going to choose 90-degree counterclockwise. And now that view is rotated. So the thing to note here is whenever I go back into this actual drawing, typical wall section, it's not rotated there. So I can still work on it. It's just basically rotating how it looks. So now, after I do that, I can come in here and I'm going to click on this view, and I'm going to change it from 3/16. I'm going to make it bigger. I'm going to try 3/4 of an inch equals a foot. And whenever I do that, I'm going to see if it fits. And it does fit. So I could possibly even bump this up to 1 inch equals a foot. Take a look. And it is pretty close to fitting. I'm going to go ahead and leave it at that. 3/4 of an inch equals a foot will be fine. Since 1 inch will fit, we'll go ahead and leave it at that. So now that I have my scale set, I do need to clean this up a little bit. So I'm going to come back in here to my typical wall section, and you can see the scale is set at 1 inch equals a foot in here as well. I don't need to show all of that roof, so I'm going to cut this off down here, and then I'm going to cut this off about right there. I do want to be able to show some gravel underneath there, and I'm going to actually bring this back this way a little bit, and I will bring these things back as well. And with these ones, doesn't look like I need to offset them or anything like that. So I'm going to bring them in just a little bit like this and look at them. Everything looks pretty good so far. And then the last thing is I'm going to turn this crop region off. I'm going to say crop region visible, unselect that. And once again, I'm going to go back to my view with the title block, and I'm going to see how it looks on here. And everything looks pretty good. I think I can fit everything on here pretty well. And at that point, I could go through and start annotating this. So really, this is the first step to getting your typical wall section set up.